have a zipper foot, go ahead and put it on, and that way you can get used to messing with it. If you don't have a zipper foot with your sewing machine, you can actually move your width, and it will move your needle from left to right. So you can actually move it out of the way. Okay, so now I'm going to need to pull my zipper up just a little bit just to get it out of the way here. So, and just forward, backward a couple times to lock that stitch in. Okay, so now that we're done with that, I'm going to go ahead and zip up the zipper. And this is what it's going to look like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to do a top stitch. So when you flip this over, just flip it over like that. And it'll want to naturally just kind of fold back, and you'll have a little bit of a fold to it. And that's exactly what you're going to want. And then you can press it, take it to the table and press it so that it stays put in place. And it'll kind of look like that. And again, you can move your zipper down if you want to. It's very helpful to not have it in the way. And if you want, you can actually just kind of fold it over as you go. I would suggest, if you're a beginner, go ahead and take it over the table and press it down. And that way it's in the locking position as you sew. It'll be a little bit easier. So let's go ahead and get the top stitch done. I would say as you're folding this over and maybe just eyeing it as you're going along, make sure that you're leaving yourself a little bit of room in there, a little bit of gap as you're kind of sewing it. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I'm making sure that I'm not getting clear up to the zipper. However, it does give it a really nice clean look, but I'm going to give it just a little bit of room like that, and then I'm going to sew it down, so however you want. And then make sure that you move your zipper foot over. Your zipper foot should look like that. So now that we're going to be sewing on this side of the zipper, you're going to move your zipper foot over, all the way over, and then you can start sewing. And I'm going to start up at the top here, and I'm going to forward, backward my stitch, locking it in place. Let me throw it out of the way here. And just take your time here, that way your zipper looks nice. Okay, coming to the end here. couple times. I want to lock that in place. Okay, so we're going to grab our other piece. Okay, so take your piece over to the table and lay it out, and then you're going to want to make sure that you get your zipper evenly on the second piece. So it's the same scenario. So you will have the pretty side facing up and the zipper facing down, and that means the zipper pull is actually upside down. And just pin it in place, lining everything up really well up. So just take your time doing it and lining everything up, and it'll save a lot of frustration. Okay, so it looks like I have this even. So again, you want to line these two pieces up, making these even with each other, like that. And put as many clips as you need, or pins, so that it stays in place. And then we will take it over to the sewing machine, and we will sew just like we did the first time, and we'll sew this down. Sew this up. Move your zipper foot back over to the other side. Otherwise, you'll have to flip the fabric like this if you don't, and then you're going to have a bunch of fabric that you're dealing with over here, and I want to keep things easy for you beginners. So just move your zipper foot over. Make sure your thread is pushed to the back, all the way to the back. It's a lot easier to sew that way, making sure everything is in its place. Okay. And forward and back, locking your thread. You will notice on some of these zippers they have a little bit of the design on the back of a zipper. It actually looks like a whole bunch of weaves, and it's woven. That kind of gives you a guide of where to sew on your zipper tape there. Now when you got to move that zipper out of the way, so if it's up here, you know, up here in your area, just lift your foot. Lift the foot, I'm sorry, it's kind of hard to see right there, but lift the foot up and then push the zipper down. Alright, almost there. And then we'll do our top stitch like we did on the other side. There we go. So we have that all completely sewn down. Snip some little threads off. Okay, so this is what you should have. So we did both sides, and then we're going to top stitch on the other side of this. And again, it's just going to naturally kind of fold over on its own, and you can kind of press that down as you go, as you're sewing, if you would like. Now you're going to actually have some bulk on this side as you're sewing. Easiest way to deal with it, just kind of fold it in half and get it out of your way as you're going along. I just like to take it and kind of roll it. Like that. Fold a small piece of it over. And I'm going to go forward and backward, locking my stitch in place. All right. And again, you can move your zipper up out of the way. And as you're kind of going, I always kind of put my hand underneath there to kind of help fold this back a little bit. Okay. So I put my hand underneath here, just kind of pushing this forward a little bit and then folding it over as I go. And I'm just going to take my time. Okay, we're just coming to the end. Forward, backward, forward, backward a couple of times. All right, this is what we got. I think it looks really good. Here we go. Okay, so I brought this over to the table, and what I've done is I have actually clipped the back half together like this, just lining it up. So this would be the other half. So we got our zipper sewn on there, and it's looking really good. And then this is the other half, and you're just going to fold it in half and sew straight down all of it. Making sure our thread is all pushed backward, out of the way. And giving yourself a 1/2 inch or an inch seam allowance. Almost there. Forward and backward a couple times. Okay, so we'll fold this inside out, right side out, so you can see how it's looking. Let's have some of these threads off. This is always the fun part. And I'm just flipping it right side out just so that I can check everything, make sure my stuff is looking okay. All right. So yes, we have a seam in the back, and if you don't want the seam in the back, we can make another tutorial doing this. These projects are actually just so that they can be done within an hour's time. So this is kind of what it's looking like so far. Looking pretty good. And again, we've got the seam in the back, but I think that's going to be okay. It's looking all right. We'll take it over there and press this out. Okay, to help with this bulk on here, just you can trim it back just a little bit. Just make sure you don't get too close. So we'll just trim this back. If you're using just a Coat and Clark's thread, I would go ahead and like sew it twice in that spot. Then that way you know you got a double hold there. I'm actually using a heavy duty thread. We are going to take 2 of our 14-inch top and bottom pieces here, and we're going to put them on the top and one on the bottom. So I'm just going to work my way around getting that on there. When we come to the sides, we're going to have to make little slits to make this fit on here pretty good. So we'll just work our way around, and we'll either pin it or clip it so that it stays. I like to work side to side on these. I usually go easier on there, like more even as far as lining up. I actually have more on this side than I do this side, so I'm going to slide this down. There we go. Now, as far as the front goes, the front of the top and the bottom half of the bag, you'll notice that there's like some holes there where the zipper part is meeting the top and the bottom. I have actually left those there purposely, just to give some breathing room for the bag. I know that my horse sweats during the summertime, and my bridle bag can get a little stinky if it doesn't air out real good. Okay, I'm gonna come around the side. So I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna put some slits in this. Do this side. My slits aren't real straight up and down. I'm doing this at an angle. Okay. So let's finish this around. Okay, so we're almost there, getting these pinned around. And as you can see, it's kind of giving away to the shape. So if you just take it, set it on there, and then just kind of cut this round a little bit. Like that. This doesn't have to be perfect. You're going to just cut a little bit around there, leaving some. You'll see how it just will kind of like line up with that a little bit better. Like that. Pin it. Again, I'm trying to do this the easiest way I know how for you guys without bothering getting a template, downloading a PDF, just trying to figure out ways to make it easier with an hour project that you can do, especially now that you're learning to sew and you want to save money for your horses project, things that you're going to make for them, fixing the boots and all that good stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna finish doing this side. Again, I'm just gonna set it kind of flat like this. Don't make it too short when you're going around. Give some slack in there so that when you sew it down, it's not real taut. Because you still have your seam allowance in there. Okay, and if it seems to pucker, just go ahead and actually put some slits in this one. I'm gonna make this a little bit more round. And you can go ahead, like I said, and put some slits in this other one too. And that'll help a little bit. Like that. There we go. Looks pretty good. So there's the top half. And I know that's my top because my zipper pull is right up here. And now we'll do the bottom. So So go ahead and open up your zipper and then start pinning the other side just like this. Okay, we are almost done. We've got our zipper part open so that when we sew this up, we can actually reach in there and turn it right side out. Okay, this is what it's looking like. Okay, so let's grab our straps for the bridles. And we're gonna make sure we get these in here, and we want to make sure that they're going the right direction, right? So open up the bag and you got your front here with your zipper open. So I'm going to use my zipper kind of as a guide as to where I want my bridles buckles to line up here. So I'm going to use the zipper as my guide, and I'm going to kind of go one on each side because I'm going to put two in here. And then we have our handle that will be on the outside of the bag. So these will be facing on the inside. Again, just make sure that you got these going the direction you want them to go. And mine are actually going to face this direction. So when I open it up, I'll put my bridle in here and then I will clip it like that. So I'll be actually turning it this way. And I'm going to clip it right here. And then I'm going to do this one about the general same area. Like that. And then this is going to be on the outside. It'll be kind of my handle, my carry handle. So we're going to take this on the inside. I'm going to kind of make sure it's not real twisted. So I'm just going to take it like so and place it inside. And I'm going to use this seam as my guide. Now I got this strap pretty long here, so I'm actually going to go out a little ways with it. And I'm going to put one side of the strap just past the seam here. Past the seam here, and then the other one on the other side like that, and we'll clip that in place. All right. Okay, so just take your time going around on this, especially it's the first time for you sewing in a circular motion here. Keep your work from sagging down, falling in your lap. It'll keep it up in place a lot easier for you. I'm going to go forward and backward, lock that in place. once we got that around once, we'll go ahead and go around the second time. This will be a little quicker. As you're pushing your fabric in there, do be careful not to get your fingers stuck or in the way of the needle. Okay, so after I got done sewing my top and my bottom on, I had decided that I wanted to move these straps around. I decided that I wanted to distribute the weight out because I have some pretty heavy bridles that I'm going to be putting in there, some show bridles. And so what I've done was I have put I've put the back one like this, because when you flip it inside out, you're going to want to be able to clip these together, and I want them to kind of go the right direction. So with your little feet, the male part, I guess you would say, with the strap, make sure that it's actually kind of facing up and it looks backwards. So you can kind of see right there. And so I put both of those there, and I kind of distribute them evenly with the zipper kind of out. I use my zipper as a guide, and then I just kind of put them in an area where it would distribute the weight as I'm holding on to that strap inside there. So I got the bottom half of the buckles on there facing this direction. And then my other part here, I've got these where they are facing downward. So you have the correct way and then the wrong way. So I have this facing down, the flat side of those buckles facing up. And again, so that when we clip them, they'll go in the direction that they need to go. And so I think this will help distribute the weight out a little bit. And I'll sew those down and we'll get that finished. Okay, so we are all done sewing that up. I think it's looking really good. All right, so I trimmed up my ends, the top and the bottom, just to kind of take some of the bulk back. I think I would say the hardest part about doing this bag was probably sewing these on, and only because you're kind of going around instead of doing just a square. So you can always try just doing the square on that and seeing how that does, and that might go a little bit easier and quicker for you guys. So let's turn this right side out, check it out, make sure all the seams are sewn up really good, and we sewn that around 2 times around on the bottom and the top. Make sure that you do that just so that it stays. So far it's looking pretty good. Looks like we got that in there. So again, just remember this is about a 1 hour project. This here was pretty simple to cut and put together, and these were actually pieces that I had left over, and then I just cut them down to size that I needed. And again, that's why we kind of have the seam down the back, because I'm repurposing just stuff that I have left over, just trying to save some money. So you could make the back half all one piece, and then the front, make that 2 pieces. And then if you did that, if you made the back all one piece, then you wouldn't actually have the seam going down the back. But like I said, I just used what I had, and then I cut it to make it fit, and that's why I have the seam down the back. I'm not really fond of the seam in the back, but you know what? I think that's okay. I think it's gonna work. It's what I wanted it for. There's our handle. It's a little longer than I probably like, but there's the inside of it, top to bottom. And again, I left some spacing there for the breather holes, so that the bag can get some air flow through it, but not too much, but just enough to put some airflow through there, so if the horse was sweaty after riding, it would do so. There's my buckles from my bridles. I got the 2 in there. So you could add a liner if you wanted to do a liner. I think it would be fun to time it to see, look, if we did do some liner on the inside, and maybe a fleece on the inside. But there it is. This works really well. And we saved some money. So you know what I would say too, if you guys have horse blankets left over, just keep those, because you can reuse and repurpose those. You could probably even use the fabric from that to make out of a bridle bag. Maybe even make a hay bag. I've got some fun little projects to do with that stuff, but there it is, guys, all done. And about an hour to do that. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Don't forget to like and to subscribe. There'll be more fun tutorials, and if you need help on some tips of doing repairs to some blankets and some boots and whatnot, I would love to help you out. See you guys at the next equine sewing project. Alright guys, so this is actually working really well, I have to say. I think the bag is nicely proportioned in size. Yes, my halters are a bit dirty. They got moldy because I didn't have one of these. Now I do. And alright, let's zip it up. Look at that. It's pretty good. Zip her up. Here we go. Look at that. I think that actually worked out really well. So it actually holds up better, instead of just having it all in the back right there. It's distributing the weight really well. You guys can see that. So it looks good. I think it would be fun to actually have a fun little liner on the inside. I would maybe use a fleece. I actually have a sleazy from my horse, and he hates it, but it is a fleece flannel, and I was thinking about maybe making a liner out of it and putting it in a bridle bag. But there you go. I think that turned out really well. So I'm pretty happy with it. I would say if you guys don't want the holes up at the top by the zipper, you could actually use some webbing, I would say, to put right there in that spot. Like right here, you can use a piece of webbing and just sew it in there. But again, I'm going to leave mine open because I want mine to be able to breathe. So I do like the airflow kind of going through there. Hope you can see that okay. But there it is.